This is Creating Your Encore Career and Becoming a Silver Entrepreneur with your host, Lynn Freest. Lynn will share ideas and expert advice from people that are walking in your shoes and living their encore careers, where they want and at the pace they want. You'll start a company of one with confidence and knowledge to live a fulfilled life of freedom and ease. Lynn is a coach and leadership consultant whose mission is to show senior leaders and experts how to start something refreshing and new after a full career in the corporate environment.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Creating Your Encore Career and Becoming a Silver Entrepreneur. Thanks for listening. With an encore career, the rewards are great. You can be creating more value in the world beyond just winning the next pickleball game. You can work when you want, where you want, and you can do the work you love. You can live the dream. If you're ready to get started today, please contact me at lynn@lynnfreest.com. This is episode 178, and it's a conversation with Nicky Billou on becoming a thought leader. Nicky Billou is a high-energy and very passionate person who's helping people build personal businesses and becoming thought leaders. His Thought Leader Revolution podcast is all about building your thought leadership around your expertise, your brand, and your name. In this episode, we'll talk about his personal journey, his experience with coaching and working with entrepreneurs. He'll also show us what's the difference between two different pens that he has, and then why you should strive for preeminence as a thought leader. Well, welcome, Nicky. It's great to have you on the podcast, and I'd like to just start off here by maybe you could talk a little bit about the journey you've been on as you started your own career, as it were.
Lynn, first of all, thanks for having me on the show. It's a real honor to be here. And let me tell you my backstory. I'm originally actually an immigrant from the Middle East. I'm a Christian from Iran. When I was 11 years old, the Islamic Revolution overthrew the relatively benign dictatorship of the Shah and replaced it with an absolute tyranny under the mullahs. And my late father, God rest his soul, he could see the writing on the wall that this was not going to be the place to raise his Christian family anymore. So he made a plan, got us out of Iran, and we eventually settled in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I thank God every day for my dad and his foresight. Like, this is a man who changed the trajectory of our whole family. We went from tyranny to freedom. Now, I know these days in the West, there's a whole bunch of people that are saying crazy things like, the West, so oppressive, so racist, so sexist. That's horse manure. This is the most tolerant set of societies in the history of the world. We are lucky to be here. And if you want to really see what oppression looks like, go to Iran. Because trust me, those folks will have a reality check hitting them right between the eyes super quick. If you've been following the news about what's going on in Iran, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Sure.
And I'm a champion for freedom, free expression, and free enterprise. And my late father was the same. He was an entrepreneur. This is a man who uplifted people. If he knew you and you were looking to find a job, he'd help you get a job. If you were looking to start a business, he'd help you start a business. If you worked for him and you were looking to buy a car or a house or an apartment and you didn't have enough money, Dad would top you up so you could buy that car, that house, or that apartment.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
Why would he do that? First of all, he was a Christian and he believed he'd been blessed by God. And it was his duty as a Christian to share those blessings with others. Secondly, he did it because he could. He had the financial wherewithal. And I loved it, my dad. I wanted to be just like him. I wanted to be an uplifter of people. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I got into the helping profession as an entrepreneur, providing coaching and advisory services, doing workshops, helping great entrepreneurs who are in that golden handcuff zone, making $60,000 to $250,000 a year. I help them remove those golden handcuffs so they double that income, quadruple it. That's what I got into, and that's what it was about for me. But I always remember what my dad said, which is, remember, son, business is about people, not numbers or money. This is about people. Mm-hmm. That person that you're talking to, that's someone's father, someone's husband, someone's son, not someone's mother. someone's wife, someone's daughter, you need to remember that and treat them like a human being and not a freaking transaction or a number. God bless my father for putting that into me. And here's the first thing I saw when I started working in the field. A lot of these good folks, they were really good at what they did, but they were terrible business people. They did not know how to sell or market or hire or fire or build a great culture or read a balance sheet or an income statement or cash flow statement. And that's why they suffered. That's why their business didn't do well. And especially, they were scared of sales and marketing. Selling scared the crap out of them. Oh my God, they're going to like me. Oh my God, they're going to think I'm too pushy, too salesy. I wonder what they think of me. The whole imposter syndrome thing came through. And I just saw that and it just broke my heart. And I thought, I don't look at sales that way. To me, sales is an act of love, deep love. I sell when I care about somebody. But that word sales just stuck in a lot of people. It's cross. So I thought, what if we reframe selling to serving? Nobody wants to be sold. You don't want to be sold. I don't want to be sold. But we love to buy and we love to be served. And just helping people rewire their thinking from sales to service. Man, that helped people double, triple, quadruple their income just by itself. And for people in an encore career, they need to understand that if they're actually going to go do something that's involving them being in business, they're going to need to sell themselves. They're going to need to sell what they do to people, but they got to sell to people. It can't be about, we're the best, we've been in business the longest. It's got to be about, we help people that have this problem. Because what is business? Business is solving problems for people for profit. Solving acute problems for amazing people and an awesome profit. AP cubed. That's Nicky Billou's patented AP cubed 7-figure solution. That's my backstory.
Well, great. Now, another one of the things that I know you have on your website and I got was a free book where you talked about how the process of becoming a thought leader. Again, many of the people I work with, they were experts in their careers, but now all of a sudden they're going to make a transition to what they're going to be doing for themselves.
So this is the book, and they ought to go on the website and get a free Kindle copy of it. But if you want a hard copy, just go to Amazon. First thing you got to do is you got to think about this. You got a niche. You can't go after everybody. You can't try to be all things for all people. You know what I mean? A lot of people say, I can do anything. I had a client. He was a personal fitness trainer, and that's what he said. He said, I can do anything. I can help people lose weight, put on muscle, do competitions. I can do it all. I'm like, oh my God, no, that's not going to work. Let's narrow this. He goes, okay. Doctors, they make a lot of money, and my dad's a doctor. I'm like, no, that's not going to work. And he said, no, I'm doing this. It didn't work. I said, you got to change this. He said, all right, I'll change it. Can I go narrower? Okay. Cardiologists. I'll work with cardiologists. They make more money than docs. I'm like, oh my God, dude, you're not getting it. I'm doing this. It didn't work. And all of a sudden, by the grace of God, he started working with a Paralympian athlete with a missing limb. They got along. He helped this fella do great things and get ready for competition and win medals. And then he comes to see me and he goes, oh my God, Nicky, I was such an idiot. I finally got it. I've been trying to go after the money. You've been telling me, no, go after helping people. I want to help people with missing limbs. I know how to help them. I said, no, you got it. That's it. So Lynn, in just 6 weeks after he figured that out, he got 400 clients.
Wow.
400 clients. He went from making $1,200 a month to making over $100,000 a month. That's the power of going narrow and not trying to be all things to all people.
Wow. Being able to discover that narrow spot where your zone of genius is, I think, is critical.
Yeah. So here's another thing. You need to become known for solving one problem better than anybody else. That's another point. But don't try to be all things to all people. Business is about solving problems for people for profit. When Danny was trying to work with anybody, solving all the problems, losing weight, building muscle, winning competitions, wasn't working for him. But when he said, I'm going to help people with missing limbs get fit, that was powerful. Why was it powerful? First of all, nobody else was going after people with missing limbs because they thought quite naturally they can't work out, so forget it. But Danny knew better. That was his name, Dan. And secondly, his message wasn't just, hey, let's work out. His message was, you can do anything an able-bodied person can do. And imagine someone with a missing limb probably doesn't believe that at some level. So when someone tells them that and convinces them of that, they're going to love it. And that's what happened here.
Yeah, and that's amazing. Like you say, when you find that spot and people respond, you may not be going after millions, but you may get a couple hundred, and that's more than enough, actually.
And the other thing you have to do is you have to do something I call the strategy of preeminence. You need to become the best person in your field, right? So here's a quote from the great Albert Einstein. Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. The mediocre mind is incapable of understanding the man who refuses to bow blindly to conventional prejudices and chooses instead to express his opinions courageously and honestly. Wow.
Mhm.
Wow, right? Preeminence is the way to go. You need to be the best. People love the best. People love the best. Something called expectancy bias. Allow me to demonstrate. This is a pen. It writes. It's not just any pen. It's a Mont Blanc pen. Look at it. Look at how beautiful the design is. Look at the gorgeous color, right? It fits in my hand like it was just designed to fit in my hand. Now, I've got other pens. If I can find one here. Here's another pen. It too writes, but it's not a Mont Blanc. It's a deluxe fine. You know, the color of the body of the pen is flaking off. They both write. They both write just fine. This pen cost me $3, one figure. This pen cost me 4 figures. Why did I spend 4 figures on a pen? Why? Because this is the best darn pen out there. And I get pleasure from using this pen. I don't get the same pleasure from using this pen. People want the best. So whatever career you get into, create a strategy of preeminence. Why is that good? Because that is thought leadership. People come after you and want to do business with you. But preeminence also means you can charge at a preeminent level because people expect to pay more for the best. They want to pay more for the best. And that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the best at what I do. And because of that, I charge appropriately and accordingly. And you will be able to do the same. So follow a strategy of preeminence. Now, I'll tell you a story. There was a man, he's a client of mine, very good at what he did. He ran an acupuncture clinic in Manhattan, in New York City. Now, this fella, he was successful. He made 6 figures a year, about 150 grand a year. But this is Manhattan. That money came and went pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
So he came to me and he said, I need to make a lot more money. I said, how much more money do you want to make? He said, I want to make $1 million a year. I'm like, okay, let's take a look at your business. Because, you know, being the best at what I do, I took a good look at his business to see why he was only making 150,000 and not $1 million. And everything about his business was great. He had narrowed his target market. He wasn't trying to be all things to all people. And he was following a strategy of preeminence in that he had some big name clients. Folks like Robert De Niro were clients of his, right? A lot of big names in banking, politicians, things like that. But he charged too little. As a result, he wasn't doing as much business as he should have been doing. So I said, look, we need a new pricing strategy. He said, okay. What do you mean? I said, we need to raise your prices. He said, okay. We need to position you as the best, and the best charges accordingly. He says, okay, great. So how much should I charge? I said, you should 20-fold your prices. And he's like, oh my God, I can't do that. That's a, I'm like, dude, relax. Don't hyperventilate. It's all good. He said, but I said, look, you got to raise your price. He wouldn't do it. But I finally convinced him to 7-fold his prices. And with the same strategy, 7-folding his prices got him 20 times as many clients immediately. In 4 months, he made $1.2 million in 4 months. Now, why? Because folks like Robert De Niro said, hey, come see my acupuncturist. He's the very best in Manhattan. Look at how much he charges. Boom. When you undercharge, you under-deliver for your clients. They don't get the value because they don't expect to get the value. They don't value it. They won't show up ready to do the work that needs to be done for them to get the value. Don't overcharge, but don't undercharge. Don't gouge, but don't be cheap either. So that's an important strategy as well. Does that make sense, Lynn?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's, again, just as your example with the Mont Blanc pen, people, they know when there's value there, and the experience, whatever it is, they want to have that. So if you're the very best, people are willing to pay for that.
You're the man. That's it. That's what it's all about.
And again, while I'm not in your league, I have seen over the years that working with people who are paying more, they're just more in the game. They got some skin in the game, and they're doing the work that they have to do. Whereas at the lower prices, they want you to do all the work for them sometimes. It's an amazing difference, though, when you're working with somebody who's in the game themselves.
100%. 100%. That's the truth. When people pay more, they show up more, and they get the outcome they're looking for more. And you got to understand that. And now here's the other thing you need to do as a thought leader. You need to help people see the consequences of the crappy situation they're in. You got to do it. They got to get emotionally connected to those consequences. If your business is failing, then what's the consequence of it continuing to fail? You're going to have to close your doors and get a job. How's that going to make you feel? You're going to feel like a loser.
Mm-hmm.
How's that going to make your relationship with your wife go? Well, she's going to get mad at you. Could put strain on your relationship with your wife. What's that going to do to your health? Well, you're going to be stressed out. You're not going to get enough sleep. You're going to overeat. You might have a heart attack. Like, these are real consequences. And it's your job to help people get clear on the emotional consequence of the problem. If your business is not making enough money, as an example, and you know that you're going to be forced to shut doors and go get a job, and that makes you feel horrible, my God, you had best immediately get clear how much longer you're willing to tolerate these horrible consequences. How much more time do you want to live stressed out? How much more time do you want to keep fighting with your wife or your husband? How much more time do you want to have less money than you deserve, not live the life that you deserve to live because you don't have the money and the wherewithal to be able to create that life, buy that dream home, go on those dream vacations?
Yeah, I think
how much longer do you want to have a self-concept that you're a loser?
Yeah, and Nicky, you've got a wonderful point there, because coming out of the corporate world, we sometimes think it's all about the money. And yet really, there's all these other consequences that you really need to deal with. It's not, we can survive broke, but we can't survive if our health goes away or our relationships go away. So those are things that are probably even more important than the money sometimes, or most times.
Sure. But money's like oxygen too. You can't live without it. That's the world we live in. You need to have money. So let's not make any bones about that. But if all the focus is on the money, then people are going to smell that a mile away. They're going to think you got commission breath. They don't want that. They don't want that. They want someone who cares. People will forget what you said to them. People will forget what you did for them. They will never forget how you made them feel.
Mm-hmm.
Maya Angelou said that. And she's right. She's right. You got to make people feel like you care.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are hurting right now. There's a recession out there right now. There's people who don't know how to win in recessionary times. A lot of people are going to go bankrupt. Are you kidding me? They need to, like, our clients are thriving right now, but that's because we know how to help them win in recessionary times. And in recessionary times, you need to get some coaching and mentorship that'll show you how to win in recessionary times. If you don't do that, you're gonna fail. And I'll tell you my last story, just to do a wrap-up story. A few years ago, this wonderful woman was introduced to us who had been the country director for one of the world's oldest and largest personal development firms. Amazing woman, heart of gold. And what had happened was she had brought a man on to help her run the company, who she thought was very talented. And for a while, everything was great. But about a year or so into their working relationship, their visions of the future diverged and they started to clash. Kind of like Steve Jobs and John Scully from Apple. And just like Steve Jobs, they kicked her out of her own company. How could you get kicked out of your own company? Very easily, apparently. She was upset, alone, and bereft and lost for 18 months. She got introduced to us. Me and my lady, we worked together. We loved on her. We poured into her. We poured into her. We showed her how to narrow her target market. We showed her how to follow a strategy of preeminence. We showed her how to win. And in her first month, she did $10,000 in sales in this encore career of hers as a coach. In her second month, she did $12,000. In her third month, she did $18,000. In her fourth month, though, she did $62,200. And that figure and its significance will become obvious in a few moments. She lives in Ottawa, which is about a 5-hour drive from where I live in Toronto. I have 2 sons. My oldest one plays soccer, or as I like to call it, football, because it's actually played with your feet. So my son had a tournament in Ottawa. I called her up. She had a son his age. And I said, hey, we're coming to Ottawa. How'd you and your boy like to come and watch my son play and hang out with us? She said, yep, let's do it. So we did. It was awesome. And then after that, we went our separate ways. A few weeks later, we had one of our quarterly branded thought leader immersion workshops. This is where we work with our clients, these golden handcuffs people, and we help them add that 1 to 2 zeros to their income while working less. And the way I do what I do is there's a time where I share with people how they can continue to work with us on this year-long program that we have. And what I did was I asked if some of our people could share their experience, because that's way more powerful than me saying, we're the best, you should sign up with us. You know what I mean, right? People share their experience, it's much more powerful. So I said, who would like to share? And wouldn't you know, before I could pick anybody, she bounced up on stage and goes, me. And I'm like, okay, great. And I thought, this is going to be great. She has an amazing story. So she starts to look at the audience where she's opened her mouth. And then she starts to cry. When I'm an old school man, when a female cries around me, I panic. I stay calm on the outside. And I go, what did I do wrong? You know? So my lady comes up with a box of tissues and she blows her nose and cleans up. And she goes, Nicky, you didn't know this. This is in between sobs. But when you and your little son came to visit with me and my little son, my little boy asked me in that excited way little boys do, Mommy, who are we going to go meet? I said, oh, sweetheart, we're going to go meet Nicky Billou and his son. And she said, all of a sudden, my sweet little boy became very serious and very quiet and said, oh, Mommy, are we going to get to meet the man who saved our family? I'm like, well, I'm old school. I don't cry in public, but I started to cry and we hugged. And she looks at me and she goes, you didn't know this, but when we first met, bank was about to foreclose on our home. We hadn't paid our mortgage in months. And my husband and I, we'd been fighting every day like cats and dogs in front of our 3 small boys. And it looked like we were going to break up and I was going to lose my precious family. And man, I started bawling some more. And she said, you literally helped me save our family. And she repeated her story of how she came and grew a business and all that. You could hear a pin drop. So I had no idea she was going through this, obviously.
Right.
And I just asked God, say, God, I am your imperfect servant, but I ask that you allow me the honor of serving more people like this woman.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the most interesting postscript of all. Everybody clapped, and she sat down, and we handed out our registration forms. And this is the year-long high-ticket mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
There were 8 people in the room, and normally some people register right away. Some people don't. And some people need a little bit of a friendly, persuasive talk. Not on this day, brother. That little boy is the greatest salesman I've ever had because everybody signed up on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
There was no, the price. I got to talk to my wife. There was none of that. There was none of that. There was just, here you go. Here's my credit card. I'm looking forward to it, Nicky. Right. If you want to be a thought leader, you got to be a heart leader first. Right. That's my wrap-up story.
And I think that's, again, it gets back to it's just not about making money. If have an encore career, you're there to serve people. Most of us in encore careers, we've had enough of the striving and the trying to find success and those kinds of things. And now we really want to have some significance in our lives. And so I think that trying to get significance is important. Like you said, it's more about the impact on the people than it is necessarily how you in your encore career can impact somebody's bottom line. It'll give them a fulfilling life, possibly.
Yes, sir. You were put here on this earth with a purpose, a mighty purpose. And that purpose includes doing what God's will is for you. And it also includes you getting to mine your talents and living your best life. Mm-hmm. You deserve an opportunity to do that. And if you're not doing that right now, don't try to figure this out by yourself. Get help. Learn from somebody like me who knows how to win in recessionary times and knows what's going to work now, not just what worked pre-lockdowns where times were good, but what'll work now. And work with somebody who gives a good gosh darn so that you can bring your heart to your clients. And don't delay, don't wait. Mm-hmm. This is your opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Nicky. I really appreciate it. We're going to be sharing your contact information in our show notes. Any other things you want to direct people to go look for on yours? I know you have the book. Other things you'd like to have people take a check out?
You go to the website, eCircleacademy.com/TLJ book. That's how to get the free copy of the book. And if you want to check out my other books, just go to Amazon.com and type in Nicky Billou, and you'll see all my books. And become a fan of Nicky Billou's books, order them all and read them. That's what I say to you. And then if you're looking to get some help in thinking through how to make your encore career just blossom, then go to eCircleacademy.com/appointment. I offer something called a complimentary success call. It's a free coaching call where we go look deeply into your business and deeply into your career. We'll look at what it's going to take to get you from where you are where you want to be. No holds barred. Let's get it done.
That sounds great, Nicky, and I appreciate your sharing your information with me, your story, your enthusiasm.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your week and look forward to maybe connecting with you in the future.
Lynn, thank you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, brother.
Same to you. Enjoy. Many thanks again to Nicky for sharing his knowledge and expertise. We talked about his personal journey, his experience with coaching and working with entrepreneurs, what's the difference between 2 pens that he owns, and why you need to strive for preeminence as a thought leader. We'll have Nicky's contact info and his free book offer in the show notes. Remember, with an encore career, the rewards are great. You can be creating value in the world beyond just winning the next pickleball game. You can work when you want, where you want, and you can do the work you love. If you're ready to get started, please contact me at lynn@lynnfrias.com or head over to lynnfrias.com, maybe listen to a few podcasts and get on the email list. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.